Welcome back to Assetto Corsa Petrol Heads. This is my very own custom tuned ORT Evo 9. I put so much blood, sweat and tears and time into making this car such a lethal monster that now I can't even drive it properly. I can't bring out a full potential, at least not with the controller. Over 500 horsepower. I retuned the AYC ADC differential system, but before I show you how amazing this car is, Mitsubishi Lan Evos and Subaru Imprezas have different philosophies to do the same thing. Use 4-wheel drive to rotate the car and exit a corner fast. A Subaru Impreza uses a 4-wheel drive system that splits the torque front to rear. This generation of the Impreza static has 70% of the power going to the rear wheels. Throughout the generations of Imprezas, the 4-wheel drive system has been fine-tuned for the car they're working with. The old Legends had a fixed torque split, whereas the newer ones, they had something similar to the active center differential the Mitsubishi has. Driving this blob by Gen WRX STI in Assetto Corsa, well, it felt amazing. It feels very thick. That's the only word I can think of. She has a lot of grip, good turn in, although understeer does come relatively prematurely. But when you open the throttle to rotate over that understeer, it is surprisingly extremely compliant. She wants to understeer rotate. This is where the 4-wheel drive system works very well, because the rear wheels accelerate more than the front wheels, which means when the front wheels are understeering, creating the blocking friction, with the dominant rear wheels accelerating, this lifts up the wheel speed ratio, rotating the car, as we know. Key thing is the front wheels with a little bit of power they receive. The power level, the power difference to the rear wheels is low enough that when you open the throttle, they don't spin, causing snap understeer. But the front end gets just enough power that it can help the rear end in acceleration out of the corner. This Impreza still had to modulate the throttle out of the corner. Remember, there's still 70% of the power going to the rear end, but it's so easy to control the slide. I personally love this generation of the Impreza, and Richard Hammond said that the specific V Limited edition of this generation is the best. We still shouldn't forget about the 22B though. Now this is a 22B, approximately 500 horsepower around there, and straight away I can tell you this is a well-tuned car. The man who made this mod did a really good job. Engine's obviously been worked on, that's why it's about 500 horsepower. Suspension has been worked on really well, weight transfer is good, and the differentials have also definitely been worked on. It was a little tricky to handle. You see, the way these diffs were set up, or at least what it feels like, I mean, it could also be how the suspension reacts. On deceleration, the differentials are much more tight than on acceleration. Tap the wall, so I need to rotate using acceleration. This is a really good thing, as you're gonna see later. It splits the wear of the tires much better all around, as the car is already very front weight biased. Front heavy, so when you use acceleration, you're shifting the weight more rearward, balancing it. And the rotation comes with acceleration. It's very fast. But the thing is, the Subaru is just not sharp enough. What I mean is, okay, I'd be rotating well, but then on exit, it just can't put the power down, so I need to modulate, put less throttle on exit than I had during rotation. This is just how Subarus are, but it's an extremely good car. This one is especially really good to drive. It's bloody fast, even though I couldn't put a proper lap down. I did put a proper one, but not fast enough. I didn't show the potential. We need to get through a lot more cars. This Subaru is amazing though. You just need to be precise, learn how to drive it properly, and it is a monster. It also looks amazing. I like it. But the Subaru is such an amazing car. Why would I say it's inefficient? Why would I say it's not sharp enough? Well, that's because I've driven a Mitsubishi Evo in Assetto Corsa. This changes the whole perspective on these two cars, making the Subaru look like just a fun car, and this a clinical weapon. And it is. This is a lightly modified Evo 7. Let's go through what makes this car so good. I'm gonna focus on the differentials, because it's the best part of this car probably, along with the engine and everything else. You can't put one thing on top of another. It's just an amazing package. But let's talk about the differentials. AYC and ADC, active yaw control and active center differential. How it works: when you coasting, turning in, well, the differentials are all wide open. Give you the best rotation at entry possible. When you open the throttle, more power goes to the outside wheels. If you start understeering, there'll be additional power just to the outside rear wheel. If you start oversteering, there'll be more power on the front axle, but still more bias to the outside wheels. So the outside front wheel would get the most power. But static, the power distribution is 50-50 front to rear. You see, when you rotate in the Subaru, both rear wheels together go wide. This is what at first thought should happen in a front engine car. But instead of just leaving rotation up to the rear wheels like in the Impreza, the Evo rather has a lifted outside to inside wheel speed ratio, with the outside wheels moving faster than the inside wheels, rotating around the engine that is in front of its front axle. The engine's outside of the wheelbase, so there shouldn't be a front to rear lifted wheel speed ratio. It's like a Porsche, and this system is made to maintain the grip while you're rotating. Driving this FQ Evo 9 was a true joy and a half. It was absolutely amazing. I would do some of the rotation at turn in with the brakes and then use the throttle from mid corner to exit. It rotated enough and I could put the power down on exit. But you see, when I used understeer rotation, things were a little different from the Impreza. The rear didn't slide out by rotating with the slip angle like in the Impreza. When I opened the throttle over the understeer, it simply rotated enough while maintaining all its grip. And then on exit I realized I don't have to put much steering lock. I realized I wasn't efficient enough for this car's grip and I could have put more power down earlier. If I input decent steering lock and slam the gas, I can get a surge of rotation, those outside wheels speeding past the inside wheels. I make her dance. But then on exit once again, it's like I don't have enough torque to slide in efficiently. However, you can slide very inefficiently in an Evo, and it's easy. You see, I've just explained a way to use this car's weapons to rotate like a bastard, and the Evo wants you to rotate very fast. But here's the thing, it wants to maintain all its grip. We need to go through something interesting. Kobayakawa tried to induce rotation on his Evo 7 and immediately accelerate, maintaining that rotation, and this was his problem. He wasn't listening to his car at all. So when he induced the slip angle and accelerated, the system immediately detected the slide and sent more power forward. And so in order to maintain the rear slip angle, he had to murder his front tires that were getting more power than the rears. He's only lucky he didn't crash. Honestly, he never deserved to drive that Evo 7. You see, you have to listen to your car to know what she wants from you. That's the only way you'll learn how to work together for the same goal you'll both want. But there is a way to trick her, override the system. You see, as soon as you slide her, she senses the traction loss of the rear tires and senses the steering lock, knowing the trajectory of rotation, and balances the oversteer with the bucket load of understeer. You'll just go wide. But if as soon as you've induced the slide, you rebound the steering lock and then accelerate, she won't know what direction you're sliding. She won't induce a snap of understeer. But this is still the wrong way to drive. She works by connection, not manipulation. Okay, to be fair, let me not be so hard on him. At the beginning of the race, he was driving fine. He'd induce rotation with the brakes, and then he'd accelerate, but not to maintain a slide. He's exiting the corner. They work together. There's a little bit of yaw from both outside wheels, but there's more power going to the front end, killing the slide in the process, and he exits the corners fast. But yeah, once he was under pressure, just driving like... it's just crap. That's all I can describe his driving. Probably the most undertrained, terrible instinct of a 12-year-old. The instinct that says if you want to go faster, simply turn the wheel more and floor the throttle harder. One way to call insurance. And now for what you saw on the thumbnail. For what a lot of us have been waiting for. She weighs about 1.3 tons. She got rear wheel steering, over 500 horsepower, full reworked 4-wheel drive differential system. This, my friend, is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 9 ORT, standing for Oliver Racing Tune. If you didn't know, Oliver's my second name. This car originally made by Mitsubishi Motors. This Assetto Corsa mod made by Keisuke Performance. It's a relatively stock Mitsubishi Evo with really good tires. I didn't mention earlier, but I need to mention now, a lot of these cars that we've been driving on the Touge, well, they have different tires. You can compare them, but you can't, because some of these cars have semi-slicks. This Lancer Evolution 9 I've been tuning for quite a long time, and I've nearly completed my dream Evo. Just doing a few last touches, last fine tunes here and there, and then it will be perfect. Well, except for the interior. The steering wheel is on the wrong side of the car, but this beauty, wow. She's really something to handle. Like I already mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is Adelaide the Wanderess. But today we're going to take it around Gunsai.